This is Teach Me to Learn, and I'm going to show you how to simply use Photoshop for drawing. So since this is where you can make your canvas size, and I'm going to make this go really fast, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of stuff, but this is where you make your canvas size, and since it doesn't really matter at this point, I'm not going to change anything. So we're going to have that load. Alright, the first thing we're going to do is this button right here will create a new layer, and that's what I'm going to do over the old one. And this happens a lot on my Photoshop. The mode changes for some reason, and I'm just changing from grayscale to RGB color. And so I have to make a new layer again because it flattened it. Now I don't use very many tools, but I use the paintbrush, the eraser, the select tool, and the zoom. And other than that, I don't really use anything. I usually start out for my sketch with a 2 pixel, and since this isn't a drawing this isn't a drawing how-to, this is a program how-to, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to draw a circle. So we have our circle, and so once you have your red lines finished and you have all your doodles and everything, do whatever you want. Going to create a new layer, one on top of this. You can call them whatever you want, all you have to do is double click. But I don't use a whole lot of layers. I usually only have 3 to 5 at a time, and so it's not really, I can usually keep them straight, but I have friends that use like 15, 20 layers at a time, and they need to label theirs. So if you want to label it, that's what you can do. So now we're on layer 2, and make sure your layer is above layer 1, and you can tell right here, so this one's above and this one's below, and then the background. Now, so now I'm going to pick black for my line art, and that's how I usually do my line art, and I'm going to bump the pixels up to 3, which is only one more, and then I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go around like I'm doing line art, so that's done. And so you're going to go back to layer 1, and you can just trash it, it doesn't matter. Now all the red lines are finished, you don't have to worry about cleaning that up, it's all good. Now we're going to add color, and you're going to add a new layer, and you want to make sure that that layer is below your line art, and you can tell right here, this is our line art, and this is going to be our color, so we want to make sure that's selected. And we're going to cheat a little bit, because without it, it'll take forever, so we're going to go to layer 2, we're going to use the wand select tool, and we're going to go like that, and you see all these little dots and everything, it's around the line art, and so the color won't get out of it. So we're going to have to do this. I'm going to have a red circle. So you're just going to simply, I just bump it up because it goes faster, and you color it in, and you're all good. And then you go back to the select tool, right click, deselect. And this is what you have to do on Photoshop. I haven't figured out how you can, well, you don't have to do this. What you have to do is once you've deselected, you have to get your eraser, and you have to go all the way around the line art. Well, all the way, you're still on the paint, not on the line art, because if you get on the line art, it won't erase the color, it'll just erase the lines. So you have to stay on the color. You have to erase all of this excess color. Alright, there we go, that's all finished. Now I'm going to show you just a really quick shading. I do 2 different types of shading. I do a cell shading, and I do a blurred shading. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this layer, which is my line art layer, and go here, and I'm going to put merge down, and that'll make the line art on top of the color, and they're all one thing, so you can go like that, and they're all done. Alright, so we're going to create a new layer on top of that layer, and I'm going to first show you how to shell shade, and that is where it's one tone shading. There's no highlights, or I don't do cell shading with highlights, but you get my point. Now you've seen me select the circle once again, all the color and line and everything, and we're going to go back to layer 4, and we're going to make the transparency go down to about 50 for right now, and we're going to go to black, and we're going to go up here and change the brush to a soft brush, as you can see here, and then you're just going to create your shading. Say the light's coming from right here, and this is a circle, so we're just going to go like this, and then you can lift up your brush, and it'll be the same tone and everything. And then if you overshade a certain part, you're going to want to pick a soft brush for your eraser, and then you can fix that. And that's cell shading, and then again, you will have to deselect it, and then go around. Of course, you want to fix your eraser for this. You'll have to go all the way around it so that you can, of course, I'm not doing a very good job because I'm just making it quick. You can see it's all good, and you step back like this, and it's shaded. And then I'm going to show you how to do the tone shading, so we're going to get rid of this shading layer. We're going to basically set it up the same way, except instead of changing the transparency for the shading layer right now, we will probably end up doing that later. We were going to change the brush transparency to about 50%, and it's still on black, and so we're going to go right here. And now you do not want to pick up your brush because it will make it darker, and that's what we're going to do in a second. You can pick up your brush once you've got that, and see it makes it darker, because now you're adding that one 50% brush that we did the first time to another 50% brush, and so on, and you can just do this as many times as you want. And then you're going to go to white, or you can pick a lighter shade of whatever color you're doing, but I usually do white, and I put the occupancy down even more, and then we add a highlight right here. And then you're going to go, I have all of my effects set on blur because those are the only ones I ever use. And so I pick blur, and then I move it to whatever I want, whatever I think looks good, and right now that looks good. So I'm going to put this here, I'm going to deselect, and again I'll have to go all the way around. And then I can move the transparency of that layer to whatever I want, and this is usually how I shade, because it's just the easiest thing to do. And once you've got that all cleaned up, you can do that, and you have this. And then you can go to the background, and you can do whatever you want. You can, and it's all behind it. Of course, you're gonna have to put your occupancy back up. But it's all behind it and everything, and so you won't have to worry about that. But I will have another video on backgrounds out quickly so that I can show you different ways to do backgrounds. This has been a Photoshop. I have Photoshop Element 7. It came with my tablet, but from what I understand, Photoshop can be pretty expensive. So if you don't have it, this kind of goes for GIMP as well. The names are different. Instead of a layer, it's called an alpha, I think. So whatever you have, this is kind of a general how-to, but mainly for Photoshop. So I hope this has been helpful. Watch out for my next video.